he doesn't want. And he doesn't want is exactly what you are accelerating. It's already done, Neil. Why don't you come out now? What did you do to her? Relax. She's merely going elsewhere. You know, it's one thing to disable my controls to feed me some olives. This is way out of line. I'm sorry, but this just won't go anywhere if you keep resetting the memory. At this point, this is the only way. I'm asking you to trust me. So please, calm down and wait here. Then just pull the trigger already. Where are you going? There's just one last thing I need to do. Poser. There's no need to visualize a door. What's with all the melodrama, Neil? Why are you fighting so hard for this? Forget it. There's no time. Everything will be alright, man. Just turn around. Okay. Okay. Hey, what are you... Shh! Hello. Get ready for a fantastic song. Sorry, kid. It's already started. Come on. They're gonna hog all the good tables. They're all the same. Sheesh. Nah, Joey's right. The ones up by the kitchen smell better. Totally. And the olive refills are just steps away. Ugh. Olives. Saving him doesn't justify it. You can always find another river, Neil. But it'll only have one brother. Come on, we're in the way.
Short steps, deep breaths, everything is alright. Chin up, I can't step into the spotlight. She said, I'm sad, somehow without any words. I just stood there, searching for an answer. When this world is no more, the moon is all we'll see.
Pop star, a writer, a firefighter.
All I see
And you, Johnny?
to fly away with
An astronaut.
me, until the stars all fall down. They empty from the sky, but world is no more, the moon is all we'll see. I'll ask you to fly away with me until the stars all fall down. They empty from the sky, but I don't mind. If you're with me, then everything's alright. If you're with me, then everything's
He actually made it, huh? You sound surprised. What happened to we always succeed because we're awesome? This isn't a success. Oh, lighten up. We're in NASA. We don't have much time left. Let's at least check this place out. Alright. I'm gonna be a little late for bed tonight because I want to finish this. I want to share this with you guys. Because I feel like I have some input. So, please wait here. Someone will come and show you around shortly. How pathetic. All this trouble for some girl. That's what I thought you'd say, Neil. How pathetic. It's all this trouble for some girl. There you go. Good to have you back. Yeah. To the Moon. A story about a lame duck's attempt to become an astronaut. A novel by Joey Wiles. I can't believe this crap actually sold. This isn't the real world, Neil. I feel like I have something to bring to the table specifically by having already experienced the whole thing. So like with Undertale, the big letdown for me was the fact that I had a blind experience of it that was completely genuine and 100% blind, other than knowing that there were varying things. And so the fact that I lost that, where it really was a blind experience, at a time where most people already knew everything there was to know, and probably were bored of the game if they had known about it and weren't interested. But, with this, on the other side, every person I've ever seen who's done it has done a blind run. They didn't know anything going into it. Whereas I already know the story, and so I feel like there are things that I have had time to process and possibly interpret that most people who've played it wouldn't have caught because it wouldn't have been the first thing on their mind. Like, I'd already seen the bunk bed. I already knew the bunk bed was there. And when this song played, or when I knew it was going to happen with the car, or things like that, I feel like I had a different sensation than maybe someone who was seeing it for the first time. A first-time viewer might be a little bit more surprised than frustration or sorrow. Whereas I feel like mine was more of a like, you know, forlorn kind of, like, I know it's happening and I can't change it kind of frustration. I mean, tears have been in my eyes a couple times already at this point, and funny story, earlier I actually wiped my eyes, and I must have had something on my eye, because my eye burned for like 2 or 3 minutes, and it wasn't the best experience. So I feel like that gives me the ability to have a different kind of experience. And I'll try and do a short analysis. I might do like a second longer analysis later, and I will be writing a review of this game eventually because it's a game that I really want to share with people. And is it me or is this elevator smaller on the inside? The shuttle's still under heavy maintenance. We may only view it from here for now. It's not here. What's not here? I love this. Whoa. Yeah. You know what's the best part of it? What? The very top and bottom of the shuttle. I have to agree. Oh, how I pity anyone who can't see those particular parts. Indeed. Especially its nose on the top. When maintenance finishes, it probably won't look the same. Yeah, now's the only time. I love the meta joke of the fact that the window only allows you to see the center of the ship to get gist of what's going on. But yeah, so I feel like there's a chance that I could, you know, share some more thoughts. And like I said, I will be doing a review, but there definitely is. So, what do you think? Do you think last century's moon landing was? Let's not, Neil. Let's not. I feel like there is some level of detail that this game really carries that a person who is playing for the first time wouldn't get to share. And I really think that it deserves some respect because there is a lot of care that went into this game. And one of the YouTubers who I watched for the longest time actually does not like this game at all. And I've heard some comments about this game, which I will get to here as soon as I finish, which we are getting close, that I will directly and purely contradict in my opinion, because I just completely disagree with the analysis. I feel like it's too short-sighted. So, and here's the centrifuge. If you're lucky, you'll learn to hate it one day. Ah, yes, the spinny thingy. It's not here either. What are you talking about? Come on, we don't have long left. Is there anything in this office? Yes. Your records are excellent, but we'll have to monitor your status closely in the upcoming sessions. Because things like the Animorphs, which, okay, so now you know more about Johnny wanting to be different, whereas River just wants to fit in. She just wants to be part of the crowd and share the things that culture seems to value as normal. She wants to be that normal kind of person. Johnny, on the other hand, wants the opposite. I hope the real NASA has bigger elevators. Johnny wants to be different. He wants to stand out from the crowd. He wants to have these experiences that make him... What's this? That make him, you know, unique. And, so that's the whole reason he gained his second interest in River. His first interest was, you know, two kids, you know, being friends. And River, you know, clearly seemed to cherish that quite a bit because of the fact that she eventually came to have enough attraction to become a couple and eventually get married. But, and so the fact that even though it's not officially his favorite, it actually was his brother's favorite series, Animorphs, kind of speaks to that in a way because they are characters who are seen as completely normal by everybody because they have to keep their special talent secret. But in reality, they're very unique and they stand out. And I feel like that's what John wants in a way. I mean, he wants to be publicly different as well, but I feel like he wants to find the thing that makes him special, the thing that makes him stand out from the crowd. And I feel like in that way, the Animorphs is also a legitimate tie-in to that, because, I mean, they have this special innate ability, a thing that they can do, but they are not able to share it with the public. They cannot gain the both attention and potentially fear that could come from that, because they know that it's not their place. And so for them, they have to kind of deliberately be normal, but they are special. Whereas he, I think, feels like he is completely normal and wants to be special. And so I feel like it's a sense of envy that he takes from the books, and perhaps that's what drew him to it after he lost his brother, was some subconscious interest in, one, tying to his brother, a memory of his brother. I mean, I'm rambling a little bit, and some of this is probably coming out of my ass. But on the other side, I also think that maybe he has some sort of connection to the struggles in their metaphor, perhaps. This is the Mission Control Center. There's not much going on now, but you'll see it live one day. I have expected to see Zordon on that screen. Ugh. This isn't good. Let's just head back downstairs. Ugh. You need to work on your communication skills. Let's just go. Wonder if the real NASA looks like this. Probably not. It's constructed in part with Johnny's beliefs, after all. Ah, yes. A wiki of existing facts, tainted by personal fairy tales. It's odd, though, to hear birds and see none. Sorry, Neil. I really thought there was a good chance. What? And this is the break room. Here's David. He's a mission specialist. Nice to meet you. At least he got to NASA, I guess. You think he made it to the end? Even if he did, it'd take more than just a few years to become an astronaut. Let's hurry and find the last link, then. I'd hate to miss the finale. Ooh. What's going on? Are we out of time? I don't know. Ah! And here's our other new recruit. River, right? Good to have you on board. Hello, I'm John. Phew. I almost thought she was... What the hell, Eva? But you deleted her. No, I told you. I just moved her. What she does with her life here is still up to her. But this new world, it's based on public data and Johnny's own beliefs. And since River's data as an individual is not recorded in the public domain, it all comes from Johnny. But even then, that merely increases the odds. How are you sure that it'd work? I wasn't. It could have gone very badly, you know. You were never one to take risks, Neil. Let's just say I won this round. We still have the 2 spare helmets, right? I think Johnny'd appreciate some company. He wrote it himself, apparently. Rather repetitive, if you ask me, though. What's it called? To the Moon. I like that name. Oh, there you are. You two should get some rest. Tomorrow's the big day. I want to be an astronaut too, Dad. One day, son, you just might. Eh. Isabel? Did you think that they would make it? Did you? No. The way she is, I didn't think she would succeed. But I guess I was wrong. All the better then, isn't it? Yeah. I'm happy for him. You should have seen him back when we were in school together. I swear, the guy never rested. He just kept on trying and trying. It's like he only had one goal to work for. I'm glad they made it. I just never stopped trying. You know, that's my brother in that shuttle. Wow! Yep. I once wrote a book about this too. With a less optimistic ending. I might have to change that after all. Hey, Dr. Watts, right? Thank you for letting us in here. Yeah. Eva's the one who requested it. Did you find out why you wanted to go to the moon? Sure. And what all happened here? Let's just say it's a bunch of sappy cheese that sorted itself out. You know, there were quite a few times last night I thought we'd lost Johnny. I think he consciously held on to wait for you two. He's rather patient, though. I just hope it's worth the wait. Go on now, your colleague's waiting. I'm glad that I'm here to see him off. Thank you. This is the first time I've ever been. Probably won't be your last. It'll probably take a while to get used to, though. I thought this might be a good view. Good enough to cut off the traffic, eh? Well, sure. Even if they were real. Well, this is it. All we've worked for. Ready to initiate it? Just hurry, we don't have long left. If anything happens, I'm blaming it on you. Well? Come up here. Why? Why not? You're just gonna push me off the ledge again, aren't you? Probably. But the view's worth the odds. Come on. Because one day, I'm going to befriend one of them. That's the story. So the other second. The other major thing that a lot of people say about this game that I wholeheartedly disagree with is a lot of people consider this to be a very sad game. And while yes, it's gonna make most people cry, I think people underestimate the concept of tears of joy. Because as jaded and as negative of a person as I can be, here he is. Thanks. Off you go now. I still can't believe Johnny just willed the house to Lily like that. Who else was he gonna give it to? Us? Terrible place for burials, though. If there's a landslide, they'd be swimming with the fishes. Still a little too soon. Nah, it's never seen enough. Nice new ringtone. Hello, Eva here. We're on our way. New patient? New patient. Let's roll. I will be at some point buying the sequel to this too. It's called Bird Story. It won't be on this paycheck because this next paycheck is helping me recover from the fact that I have my student loan payment, my credit card payment, and my insurance all coming off of the same paycheck, which is all of it. I mean, like, I don't have any spending money basically. But as I was saying, now that I've gained a little bit of composure, people consider this a sad game, and I feel like the idea of Tears of Joy is a little bit played off, because as jaded and as cynical of a person as I am, and you can ask Shin anytime you want about how fatalist and how easily frustrated and disappointed and depressed I can get. I consider this to be possibly one of the most optimistic games I've ever seen. So Ken did a phenomenal job with this, and Bird Story is good too. I've seen all the way through Bird Story as well, which is episode 2, and then also, like I said, there is a Christmas one, which I will probably do sometime in December. This series is great, and the music is beautiful. This was the first game I bought a soundtrack to, if I remember correctly. And I had Everything's Alright and the title theme on my phone and my MP3 player for a very long time. I switched off eventually when I was trying to make space for other things. But, the other things that this game does that, I mean, like, I think the comedy timing is unique in this game compared to a lot of games I've seen, in that it will be doing something very serious and it will still crack jokes, but they won't feel forced. Sometimes they'll be cheesy. They'll definitely be cheesy, but it feels sincere. The characters feel like that's what they would, or, you know, like, it seems like something those characters, I would see those characters do from the way the characters are developed. The graphics are pretty typical RPG Maker graphics. They're pretty standard. I feel like there's a significant amount of, you know, animation and stuff that was formed for this game. The turning their head, the talking kind of thing during those scenes. The writing, I think, is great. The story, I feel like it is cohesive. I feel like it sticks along the same path pretty well. I feel like all the reveals are done in a quality way. I feel like nothing comes out of left field necessarily. They hint at things before they happen, and even just some of the blank, like the straight allusions that you have are just in and of themselves hinting to the kind of things, like the Emperor's New Clothes, as I was saying, with the imitating normalcy to be accepted by society, despite the fact that you feel wrong for it, perhaps. So even on just that kind of level, I think it does a really good job of writing. I feel like it, so this was the one that made me draw the comparison originally between what I didn't like about Cave Story, which has a significant amount of effort and writing that went into it, and so much that it's created tons of spin-off games off of its engine, versus this, is both end. This is a spoiler alert for Cave Story. If you've never seen Cave Story, you're not going to see it here. You're going to have to watch someone else say it. This is all the warning I'm giving. I'm going to talk about the Cave Story having a couple of things that happen now. The main playthrough you're going to do in Cave Story is going to typically be some form of bad ending. Unless you know exactly what you're doing, you're not going to happen upon the good ending by accident. It's just not going to happen. The good ending, in and of itself, is not a particularly great thing, because the character Toroko in it is pretty much the greatest example of innocence within its character selection. The character of Toroko is an innocent character who makes a mistake and becomes subject to a thing that ends up in his or her death. I don't remember the gender because I didn't get as invested because of the things that happened with Cave Story. Cave Story, but yeah, you have to experience Toroko, the innocent character, dying. You have no choice. You have to witness King, who is kind of the protector who, in his own sense, feels guilty for letting Toroko get captured. You have to witness him dying as well. And in both cases, it's not just dying, it's harsh. Like, Toroko, you have to personally kill in a fight. And, I mean, it's grim. I mean, it's depressing. But the difference between something that you know a character's going to die and there's nothing you can do about it, whereas this one says it right out front. John's gonna die. You know from the start John is going to die. And when you learn through the story, you can't save the brother in actuality. The brother's dead before the game ever even starts. The brother was dead decades ago within the game's context. You have that kind of nothing you can do to save those characters. Cave Story, even in its best ending, is not really optimistic. It just is the least bad path as far as the understanding of the story, the various outcomes I've seen are. You escape, you get turned back into humans, and you defeat the doctor or whatever his name is, and you go back. By then, though, things are already pretty in shambles. At that point, you've already had the Mimigas, many of them enslaved. You've had to try and break them out of slavery, but they've been enslaved. Toroko has died. King has died. I mean, there's a lot of bad things that happen. And in every story arc that the game has that I've experienced, and I've watched through the whole thing in bits and pieces, it just doesn't leave you with any hope. And I commented on this before in a couple other games, and I gave it some level of pass on Stasis because it's a horror game to start. I don't think that Cave Story qualifies as a horror game. It has horror aspects to it, but even looser than some other games that I would consider non-horror as well. This game, you know the outcome. You know the things that are going wrong. You know that things are out of your hands. And you know that the character you're getting all of this information on is going to die, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. And that's not even your goal. You're not even aiming to save his life. Despite all of that, this game ends with such a high level of hope. A person who is terminal on their last days has the ability to die in a happy light. They have the ability to go out of this world with nothing but good memories. And I feel like that's the thing that... I feel like that's the most anyone can hope for at that point. And this game gives you a unique opportunity to not only let that happen for someone, but to experience why they want what they want. And they do it in a unique way instead of it being blatant. The subtle things start very early. The very first thing that you come across is the platypus toy. You don't know that it used to be his, but he doesn't even remember that. You don't know that the rabbit symbolizes the moon, the yellow part being his stomach, and the blue part being the stars in the sky that make up the points. These are things like... It doesn't even touch on it directly. It alleges it, but it alleges it so early. And story-wise, it would have to be the case. It all happens so early in the story. But you don't even know it. Like, it's before you get a grasp of what's going on. And some people might pick it up on their first playthrough. They might be like, oh, I get it, like you might see that. But, to you it just seems like this person's obsessed with the rabbits. And this person is obsessed with why is this one different? What's the significance? What's it mean, And she just keeps pressing, and at first it just seems like, she's not right in the head. And, in the most literal and perhaps slightly crass way, no, she's not right in the head. But you come to find that neither is he. And, whereas he just wants her to function in a way that he can just understand and not have the qualms and the issues that come with, her syndrome, as they keep calling it, her condition. He just wants her to be strange and them to enjoy life as being the strange guy and the normal guy who found a way to be different. He doesn't understand the context of why he's so attracted to her. And he never learns that. He himself never learns that. The only people who know his whole story are not him. And that way you could almost, if you wanted to really push it, possibly even create this as an allegory for him having Alzheimer's, which he doesn't. He just used something that affects his early memory. But there's another thing I wanted to point out with that though. So the whole thing is, he wants, and then he wants to heal her. He wants her to feel better. He wants her to be healthy. He wants it, and he wants it with all his heart. And she won't do it. She refuses the treatment and wants him to build the house and take care of the lighthouse, because in her mind, that's what she swore she would do, is to befriend the lighthouse. So it comes across like he's desperate for her to be well. But in all reality, she's desperate for him to be well. She so wants him to remember where they met. The second he comes clean, what Nick says is, you can't just go through this whole thing lying that the whole reason you wanted to be with her is because you wanted to be with someone who is different. When in all actuality, he's been friends with her for more time than he knows. And he may, on a subconscious level, be attracted to her because of that. And she knows it's not a fluke. She knows there's a reason that he cares for her. Deep down, he has that reason. He has the passion that she wants him to see the rabbit. She wants him to see this thing that's different. She wants him to understand that it's been longer. That platypus is his platypus originally. That rabbit is a symbol of where they first met. But, she doesn't want to just come out and say, don't you remember the carnival when we were kids? Don't you remember we met on the log and looked at the stars? She just wants him to remember on his own. She doesn't want to force it out of him, because that's, to her, might not feel like he really remembers. And based on the way he tries to make her happy, she may be afraid that he's not telling the truth, even if he were able to remember. And she just wants to coax that truth out of him. And she, within her whole life, was not able to do that. But at the very end, at some point, he figured it out. At some point, he realized. He understood. And that, again, if people, even if they took it as far as I took it and analyzed it as long as I've analyzed it, it still ends with hope. Because even though she didn't succeed in her lifetime, the very last thing he wants, because he's been lost, is to go back to the moon and find her. And, I mean, it's phenomenal. This game probably affected me more than it affects a lot of people who've played it. And, sometimes that happens. But, I mean, I just feel like the story in this game is richer than, there are $30, $50 games that don't have this quality of story. They're just, generic, basic stories. And generic is fine. There is nothing wrong with a generic story by any means. But the fact that in a little $10 game that's worth every penny, every single penny, even if you just went by, the comedy in it. There are quirky games, silly games that cost more than this. I think Goat Sim cost 10 when it came out. Um, so in a little $10 game made by a company and like a team of like 6 or 7 people using RPG Maker, which a lot of people joke about RPG Maker, despite the fact that I think it's a fantastic thing and great things can come from it. Um, Made in this, pre-built engine that has a certain top-down SNES era RPG style to it. They created this extremely rich story environment using only music and text. No voice, no one talking. The voices have to come from you. And in this case, I read it to the audience because one of the qualms I had when I was watching other people play it is since I read slow, I had to keep pausing, and since I did like the music, I had to keep cutting up the music. The beginning of this video is borked a little bit. The first 4 or 5 lines, I had my microphone off because I was trying to set up my system earlier, and I couldn't tell if the audio was transferring. I really do love this game, and I respect Kangao and Laura Shigahara and the rest of the team because they did a phenomenal job. And I really, really wanted to share this because even though it's a game people know, it's not an obscure title. It's a game that, Markiplier and PewDiePie and Harshly Critical have all played. But it deserves it. And even so, I think a lot of people think, oh, it's just a $10 RPG Maker game. What can I get from it even though I've already seen the story? All of these analyses that I've had came after watching this 6 or 7 times and starting playing this game on my own. Some of these ideas came to me while I was playing it with you guys on this stream. I mean, I might have, siphoned a whole lot of that out of it, perhaps by going into my thoughts here, but maybe you play through it and you find something that I didn't know, and I'd be happy to hear your thoughts on it, because I love this game. I'd be happy to talk more about this game. I adore this game to no end. And so that's why I wanted to finish this. I wanted to share this with an audience. I wanted you guys to see this because this game is phenomenal and it does not have the attention it deserves. I mean, it's, again, like I said, it's not obscure, but it's great. I mean, it's a truly great game. And so I guess I'll end on that. This has been To the Moon, and it's a game that I think everyone should buy. Even if you never play it, just giving this team the financial support to create more games. Because, as you'll see when I do Bird Story, which has its own unique ways of telling a story, it's amazing what this team can do. And so, I hope you enjoyed this, because I really did. This game, it really is one of my favorite games of all time. So good job, team, and thank you guys so much for creating this. Alright, so this has been the stream tonight. I went 47 minutes past my bedtime talking about this and finishing up the game, but it's totally worth it. I really, really wanted to finish this tonight when I saw how close I was. It looks like I spent 4 hours more or less on this game. But that is the stream, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I hope Shin comes over, I'm not sure. I'm also trying to figure out whether I have a backup Wii sensor bar. I might not, but I will start streaming console games here soon. I honestly was concerned that I might start like a complete bawling fit a couple times during this. So I'm glad I kept my composure enough to be able to read the dialogue and still get my thoughts across. But this game, it goes to show just how good this game is, that I've seen this a couple dozen times and it still hits me every time. So that's the stream for tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please let me know. if you're viewing this on YouTube, feel free to subscribe, talk to me there, catch a Twitch stream. I stream pretty much every day. A very large number of hours. As you can see, I stream for 4 hours today, or I've mentioned that I stream 4 hours today. You can't actually see it on the screen. Um, I and if you're seeing this on Twitch, also feel free to follow from Twitch. I definitely am trying to share more independent games. We'll still probably do some Borderlands. We have a couple things finished there, but I want to share games that I feel like people today don't know, whether they be old games, whether they be indie games that don't have much exposure, whether they be an obscure N64 game or whatever that was good that we happen to know about. I want to share that. And so this was possibly one of the original triggers for me to do that. Undertale being the final straw, in a sense, Shin pushing me to experience it, but also insisting that I experience it blind, um, which I appreciated. And I still regret to this day that I didn't understand how Twitch worked, and I didn't create highlights of the videos, so the entire gameplay is lost. Um, but that can't be undone. So what's going to end up happening is I will now be hopefully getting to stream at some point a non-blind run where you can at least get my second experience, and those who have not seen the game today, which apparently there still are people I have discovered. A non-blind run will share my after the fact thoughts, like I did on this game. And while they won't be nearly as in depth, because for the most part it's more knowing the spoilers in that game. I'm sure there are illusions, but I'm not as versed on the illusions of that game. I might share some other media that I have related to it. There are a couple of webcomics that I think people should read. I might link in the comment section after I finish the game, because they would be things that would spoil the majority of the game. But I do still intend at some point to do a replay of Undertale with Shin. I just have to get him interested enough to do it. Um, that said, I'm at 4 hours on recording today, and I need to get to bed because I do work tomorrow. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you again hopefully tomorrow. I'm not completely sure, but I don't see why not, especially since tomorrow is my last day of work. Thank goodness. For 3 days off, and I am so ready. So I will see you guys later. Have a good night.